Oi girls and boys and everything in between, it's Ace Trainer Liam back with another episode of Form Fight. Form Fight is a series where we take a look at a Pokemon with more than one form, or a branched evolution, or a counterpart Pokemon. We have a look at the differences between the Pokemon in question and try and work out which one is the best. And so we can see these Pokemon in action on the battlefield. We also have a metronome battle between those Pokemon just for a little bit of fun. If you're a fan of the Form Fight series and you're ready for more, make sure you hit the like button, show your appreciation for the series, and of course hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. But with all that out of the way, let's take a look at today's challenges. Today we're going to be looking at the branched evolutions of Tyrogue, which are Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and Hitmontop. Now Tyrogue always evolves at level 20, but if it does so with its attack stat being higher than its defense stat, it will evolve into Hitmonlee. If its defense stat is higher than its attack stat, it will evolve into Hitmonchan. And if its attack stat and defense stats are completely equal, it will evolve into Hitmontop. But what makes these three Pokemon so different? Let's take a look. According to the Pokedex, Hitmonlee stands at 1.5 meters tall and weighs 49.8 kilograms. Its Pokedex entry reads, Hitmonlee's legs freely contract and stretch. Using these spring-like legs, it bowls over foes with devastating kicks. After battle, it rubs down its legs and loosens the muscles to overcome fatigue. As for Hitmonchan, it stands at 1.4 meters tall and weighs 50.2 kilograms. According to the Pokedex, Hitmonchan is said to possess the spirit of a boxer who had been working toward a world championship. The Pokemon has an indomitable spirit and will never give up in the face of adversity. And finally, Hitmontop stands at 1.4 meters tall and weighs 48 kilograms. Its Pokedex data tells us Hitmontop spins on its head at high speed, all the while delivering kicks. This technique is a remarkable mix of both offense and defense at the same time. The Pokemon travels faster spinning than it does walking. In terms of appearance, these Pokemon are actually all very different. They very much don't look like each other apart from the fact that they're each kind of humanoid, with of course Hitmonlee having spring-like legs, Hitmonchan looking very much like a boxer, and of course Hitmontop looking a lot like a spinning top. In their shiny forms, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan both change their skin tone to a more green colour, whereas Hitmontop seems to go for a more grey colour. Hitmontop's kind of blue outfit changes to pink, and Hitmonchan's gloves change from red to blue. Now let's look at the typing, weaknesses, and resistances of these Pokemon. All three of these Pokemon are pure fighting type Pokemon, making them all weak to flying, psychic, and fairy type attack. They all resist rock, bug, and dark type moves and don't have any resistances. So let's jump straight into the stats and abilities of these Pokemon. Hitmonlee, as you'd expect, is quite an adept physical attacker. It does have very good special defense as well and decent speed. Its special attack of course is garbage because it's a physical Pokemon. Its defense is a little bit lackluster and its HP is pretty below average too. Hitmonlee's primary ability is Limber, which prevents this Pokemon from being paralyzed. This is an okay ability for Hitmonlee. I mean, nobody wants to be paralyzed, but it's certainly not the best ability Hitmonlee can have. Its secondary ability is Reckless, which increases the power of moves that do recoil damage. Now again, this looks like a fine ability for Hitmonlee, giving it more power to double edge, high jump kick, and jump kick. However, those are the only three moves that actually are affected in Hitmonlee's arsenal. So even though you do get a more powerful high jump kick, you don't really get any other advantage than that. Hitmonlee's hidden ability is Unburden, which doubles Hitmonlee's speed once its held item has been used. And of course the usual strategy here is to use Fake Out and a normal gem, because Fake Out, a normal type move, will be powered up by the normal gem, which will then be consumed, activating the Unburden ability and doubling Hitmonlee's speed. So not only will your opponent be unable to attack the first turn, but you have a chance of moving first on the next turn. This is definitely Hitmonlee's ability of choice. Now Hitmonchan has the same HP, special attack, and special defense stats as Hitmonlee, but loses a little bit of speed and a little bit of attack in favor of raising its defense. Its primary ability is Keen Eye, which means that Hitmonchan can't have its accuracy lowered, which can be very useful, but at the same time, again, it's outclassed by other abilities that Hitmonchan can have. Its secondary ability is Iron Fist, which increases the power of punching moves. And of course, since this is the punching Pokemon, it definitely has the advantage if it has Iron Fist. I mean, it just makes the most sense to use Iron Fist on a Pokemon that is solely based around punching. You're getting extra powered Bullet Punch, you're getting extra powered Power Up Punch. It's just a great all-round ability for Hitmonchan and maximizing its potential, and definitely makes up for the difference between its attack and Hitmonlee's. Its hidden ability is Inner Focus, which prevents Hitmonchan from being flinched, which is fine, but again, it's not really that useful to Hitmonchan in a world where Iron Fist exists. And finally, for Hitmontop, its HP, special attack, and special defense are the same as all its brethren. However, it's got slightly less speed than Hitmonchan, and of course, its attack and defense are evened out. This does make Hitmontop the bulkiest of the three, while still giving it a decent attack stat which it can deal some damage with. Hitmontop's primary ability is Intimidate, which lowers the opponent's attack stat when Hitmontop enters the field. Now, of course, being the bulkier of these three Pokemon, I don't feel Intimidate is that necessary, but of course we can't deny that it is a helpful ability because it does even further reduce the amount of damage that your opponent can inflict on your Hitmontop. Its secondary ability is Technician, which increases the power of moves that have base power of 60 or less. This is actually a great ability to get around the fact that Hitmontop is quite slow, because of course it increases the power of things like Bullet Punch and Mach Punch, both priority moves with very low base power, but of course with the Technician boost it gives them that little bit more gusto. Not to mention there are a wide variety of other moves affected by Technician that can really give Hitmontop the edge. Its hidden ability is Steadfast, which increases Hitmontop's speed each time it's made to flinch. Now this can be very, very effective for Hitmontop because of course it's a slow Pokemon compared to a lot of other fighting types, and the idea that your opponent, who probably will want to flinch you first turn and give you a bad time, is going to increase your speed is a very, very nice strategy to have. Of course, if you are having particular trouble with an opponent that continues to flinch you with certain attacking moves, it means that you can eventually get the upper hand by the amount of speed boosts you get. Now it's time for me to decide which of these three Pokemon I prefer, and honestly, it's been Hitmonlee since about 1999. I've loved Hitmonlee. It used to be my favorite Pokemon at one point. There was a time back in Generation 1 where Hitmonlee was my favorite Pokemon, and I've never been able to shake that when comparing it to the other two Hitmons. I guess nostalgia glasses aren't really the best thing to look through, but also I've had so much fun using an unburdened, normal gem, fake out Hitmonlee. It's just so much fun to use. Plus I can nickname it Hitmonleum, and that just really, really works. The other two are fine as far as Pokemon go, but they're not really that interesting to me. And they do look a little bit too much like people, where at least Hitmonlee kind of looks like some kind of alien creature. But of course it's not just up to me, it's up to you guys to decide which of these Pokemon is your favorite. But before you do that, we need to have a metronome battle. We're going to have a look at these Pokemon on the battlefield, but of course there's three Pokemon, we can only have one-on-one at any one time, so what we're going to do, the two original Hitmons, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, are going to battle it out, and whoever wins that is going to face Hitmontop. But before we get into the metronome battle, I should point out these Pokemon all have max IVs in all stats, 0 EVs in all stats, they're not holding any held items, they all have their hidden abilities, they're all the same type, the only advantage or disadvantage any of these Pokemon get comes from their base stats. Everything else is all up to the metronome. Let's go. It's time! This one has the potential to be an all-out brawl. We have Hitmonlee versus Hitmonchan, the original Hitmon, the fighting type icons. Everybody's on the field, let's see what's going to happen here. Of course, the Hitmonlee team is the faster of the two, so they will always have the speed advantage. Psycho Boost coming out from Shiny Hitmonlee onto Shiny Hitmonchan for some super effective damage. What a beginning. Although its special attack has harshly fallen, although Hitmonlee's special attack, all the Hitmon's special attack is nothing to be desired. Ally switch, regular Hitmonlee is going to swap places with Shiny Hitmonlee for no apparent reason. Here comes Shiny Hitmonchan. How will it respond to being Psycho Boosted? Goes for Stomping Tantrum onto regular Hitmonlee. You got to think it was aiming for that Shiny Hitmonlee, but unfortunately, the Ally switch worked to the advantage of Shiny Hitmonlee. Acid Armor from regular Hitmonchan. Doesn't want to take too much damage. Raising its defense sharply is a great idea. Here we see Hitmonlee. What's it got in store right now? Regular Hitmonlee going for Heart Stamp. That is going to do super effective damage. Does about a quarter of Hitmonchan's health there. That was quite a good move. Here comes Shiny Hitmonlee with a Will-O-Wisp. Going to cripple regular Hitmonchan there. Basically halving its attack, which makes this Hitmonchan very, very redundant. It doesn't look good for Team Hitmonchan right now. Here's Shiny Hitmonchan with a Zen Headbutt. That's going to be super effective damage. Wow. Oh my goodness. Almost completely takes out Shiny Hitmonlee there with that Zen Headbutt. That was very, very lucky that Zen Headbutt didn't come from the burned Hitmonchan. Here's a Feather Dance, lowering the attack harshly of regular Hitmonlee. This has been an incredible turn for Hitmonchan. Oh my goodness. Hitmonlee, what are you going to do to respond to this? Because this is incredible. Here's a lunge, which is going to be not very effective because it's a bug type move, does barely any damage there, but does lower the attack stat of that Hitmonchan that little bit further as well. So the burn and the -1 attack is not very good for that Hitmonchan. Here's a clear smog from shiny Hitmonlee. Tiniest little bit of damage, but does remove its stat changes. Were there any stat changes on that Hitmonchan? I don't think there were. Here's regular Hitmonchan with a multi-attack, which of course is going to be fighting type. Is going to do a decent amount of damage to Hitmonlee there. His shiny Hitmonchan with a mist ball. That is going to be super effective, I believe, but I mean 5 HP, it was never going to live anyway. You could have used a not very effective move and shiny Hitmonlee would have still gone down. We're down to 2 Hitmonchan and 1 Hitmonlee. This is not looking good for the Hitmonlee team right now. What's it going to do? It needs some spread moves, really. Maybe, I have no idea, like a Dazzling Leap. Goes for Splash, almost feeling like it's done for and might as well just tap out. I think that was Hitmonlee's way of saying, dude, I am done. Here's an Endeavour, but of course it's not affecting Hitmonlee because it's at lower HP than the Hitmonchan. Here we see Sing coming out from regular Hitmonchan, going to put Hitmonlee to sleep. This is not what Hitmonlee wanted to happen. Can't even bow out gracefully at this point. It's just a sitting duck right now while these Hitmonchan just have their way with it. How they've switched this battle around. That Zen Headbutt was a key play by shiny Hitmonchan. Here's the metronome because Hitmonlee's asleep this turn. We get a Night Slash. It's going to be not very effective. They're just toying with it right now. Down to 25 HP is Hitmonlee. How will regular Hitmonchan follow up? Goes for Confide. Oh my god, they really are just toying with this Hitmonlee right now. Drops its special attack even further. It's at like -3 special attack. There's the burn damage. Hitmonchan doesn't really need to worry about this burn right now. Hitmonlee still fast asleep. Can't do anything to defend itself right now. It is the proverbial sitting duck right now. Here's a Brick Break. Stab Brick Break from Hitmonchan. Down to 1 HP. Hitmonlee is hanging on. But what? Oh, here's a bite from shiny Hitmonchan. And down goes Hitmonlee. Hitmonchan will face Hitmontop in the next battle. That was incredible how they turned that around. You've got to know that Zen Headbutt was the most important play of that match. Incredible. And here we go. It's Hitmonchan defending against Hitmontop. The newbie, if you like, even though Generation 2 was a long, long time ago. Hitmontop, welcome to the club. How you doing? Here comes Metronome from Hitmonchan, who of course is the faster of the two. Here's an Ingrain. Shiny Hitmonchan says, no, 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 no. If you're bulky, I'm going to make sure I restore HP each turn just while you're damaging me. Here's regular Hitmonchan with Psychic Fangs to start off with. Super effective damage, bringing Hitmontop, shiny Hitmontop, down to half HP already. Hitmonchan with a strong start. Here's an Echoed Voice from Hitmontop. Does a tiny bit of damage, and of course they're not going to be able to follow up with further Echoed Voices to power that up, so that's a shame. Here's Bone Meringue from shiny Hitmontop, doing a fair amount of damage there. There's 2 hits. Turnabout is fair play, bringing Hitmonchan down to half HP, as it did on the with the Psychic Fangs onto Hitmontop. Here's shiny Hitmonchan with a Circle Throw. That is going to do a fair bit of damage to regular Hitmontop, but not too much, not too much. Here's regular Hitmonchan with a heal block, preventing the opposing team from healing. That's interesting. The opposing Hitmontop, both of them prevented from healing. Very interesting play there. So Hitmontop's going to struggle if it gets down to low HP. Here's an Eruption from Hitmontop. Going to hit both Hitmonchan, but not burn either of them, so just a standard Eruption there. Of course, no special attack moves are going to be very good in here. Here's a Smelling Salts from regular Hitmontop, but of course Hitmonchan is restoring with that Ingrain root bonus, if you like. Here it is, shiny Hitmonchan. What have you got in store? Double Team. Ooh, wants to make itself that little bit more evasive, wants to avoid the attacks of the Hitmontop. That's a very, very good idea. Here's regular Hitmonchan. What have you got for us, my friend? You've got Solar Blade. Going to absorb some light, but not going to attack until the next turn. This is an opening for Hitmontop to take advantage. What's shiny Hitmontop going to do? Going to go for Sand Tomb. Going to trap regular Hitmonchan in Sand Tomb, which is going to damage it each turn. Here comes the regular Hitmontop. What's it going to do? It's going to go for Entrainment. Going to basically teach its ability. to Hitmonchan there. So Shiny Hitmonchan now has Steadfast. So if it's made to flinch, its speed's going to raise. How that was a good idea, I have no idea. As it restores more HP, and as its partner loses more HP, comes down into the red because of Sand Tomb. My goodness. Here's that Solar Blade. That's going to do massive damage. Surely. Huge damage. Wow. Brings Hitmontop. Shiny Hitmontop's down to like 1 HP right now. Here's a Sweet Scent, lowering the evasiveness of the Hitmontop team. That's going to be advantageous to the Hitmonchan team because, of course, now they're going to make sure that even their less accurate moves are going to land some killing blows. Here's regular Hitmontop. What's it going to do? Going to go for Shadow Ball onto regular Hitmonchan. Not quite taking it out. Regular Hitmonchan still in this game. Very much still in this game. Here's regular Hitmontop with a heal block of its own. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Avoided by Shiny Hitmonchan. You've got to assume it was Shiny Hitmonchan that avoided that because of the double team. But the Sand Tomb is going to take down regular Hitmonchan. We're down to just 1 Hitmonchan. This is reminiscent of the battle between Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, where we were down to just 1 Hitmonlee, and then it all went pear-shaped for the Hitmonlee team. Will this happen again? Here's Round. That's not going to do a great deal of damage from regular Hitmonchan onto regular Hitmontop because it's a special attack. Special attack is not the forte of any of these Pokemon. Shiny Hitmontop goes for a Dragon Tail, but it's avoided because of that double team boost that we saw earlier. Regular Hitmontop, can you follow up? It can't use the move. It basically got denied a move because of heal block. You got to think that would have been Recover or Moonlight or something like that. Here comes Hitmonchan. What's it going to do? Goes for Defense Curl, raising its defense alongside these bulky Hitmontop compared to itself. Oh my goodness, Hitmonchan is really trying its very best to stay in this one. Regular Hitmontop goes for Rain Dance. Gotta wonder what it's got up its sleeve there. Powering up those Water-type moves, if anyone gains any Water-type moves. Oh my goodness. Here we see Shiny Hitmontop. What's it going to bring to the table right now? Going to go for Razor Wind, a 2-turn attack. So it's going to power up the Whirlwind this turn, and then it's going to attack with it on the next turn as Hitmonchan gains even more HP. The heal block wore off on Hitmontop. That's a shame because it could have used that healing move it attempted earlier, but unfortunately it was a no-go. Here comes Flatter. Going to raise the special attack, I believe, of Hitmontop, but also confuse it. Confusion is not good for Hitmontop, especially at such low HP. Here is regular Hitmontop going for a Soak. Wait, avoided, so it doesn't matter. Trying to change Hitmonchan to a water type there. Hitmontop avoids the confusion and goes for Razor Wind, but it's also avoided by Hitmonchan. That was lucky. Every turn counts for the shiny Hitmontop because of that confusion. Could be a death blow at any moment to itself. Here's Bullet Seed from Hitmonchan onto regular Hitmontop, so it's not going to knock out the shiny, but it's going to do 2 hits, 3 hits onto Hitmontop. Are we getting any more? 4 hits with the Bullet Seed. Is it going to go for a full one? No, 4 times, bringing regular Hitmontop down into the red. Here's the confusion. Gonna be avoided by Shiny Hitmontop. It gets another chance at life, going for the Metronome, going for Entrainment, but it fails because, of course, this Hitmonchan has already been entrained at this point. Here we see Iron Tail, but it's avoided by Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan is defying all the odds right now. This is incredible. Oh my goodness, what's it going to do? Going to go for Growth, going to raise its attack and special attack. My goodness, this Hitmonchan came prepared. Shiny Hitmontop, is it going to hit itself in confusion? Going to avoid the confusion again. Oh my goodness, this Hitmontop's getting lucky. Bolt Strike coming out. Is that going to do significant damage to Hitmonchan? Oh my goodness, this is one of the most beautiful moves in the game as well. My goodness. And there it is. It doesn't do a lot of damage to Hitmonchan, but here comes Hitmontop following up with an Aqua Jet that is going to be powered up by the rain. Decent amount of damage, but still not enough. Hitmonchan is on the ropes here because, of course, it does have the numbers disadvantage, but it's still playing a very, very strong game. Goes for Clamp, which is going to be powered up by the rain that Hitmontop itself brought to the table. Down goes regular Hitmontop. Here's shiny Hitmontop. What's it going to do? Hit itself in confusion, and the battle goes to Hitmonchan. That was incredible. Hitmonchan was just all go. It won both battles. That was amazing. Well done to the Hitmonchan team. Wow. So you heard what I've got to say, you've seen these Pokemon in action on the battlefield, now it's time for you to decide which of these 3 Pokemon is your favourite. Is it Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, or Hitmontop? Let me know in the comments below and explain to everybody why your pick is the absolute best. So that'll be it for this episode of Form Fight. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, and if you're new, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so via Patreon, like the guys whose names you can see below me already do. And of course, until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.